Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Lucky and today I am back with my Formula 1 Germany Grand Prix prediction. If you're wondering, by the way, yes, I am playing in the 2014 version of the F1 game, purely on the fact that there isn't the track in the 2015 game, but there is in the 2014, so I thought I might as well show you guys that, so at least I have some sort of track footage to show you guys. But yeah, let's get into it. What's been the news since the Hungarian Grand Prix? Not a lot. I mean, it's surprisingly not a lot of news that's been going around lately, especially with contract season and that. Not a lot. Ferrari technical advisor Allison, I think it is. He is departing ways with Ferrari due to something that's happened with his family. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really looked into it, but either way, it's looking like he can't stay at Maranello in Italy. He's going to go back to England, which does mean he could work with other teams like Renault and that who are based fully in England. So we could see him go there. Apparently he's incredible. I don't know much about him personally, but I've only heard good things about him. So it could be a good snatch for Renault to get him. Obviously it's a shame, but that's how things are going. But besides that, I mean, there's not a lot. Renault think they're doing well. They're back on track, which, yeah, probably they are. I mean, they scored points early in the season and then haven't scored any since, and then had a chance to score them, but Palmer threw that one away. But yeah, he had a good chance to score points. So I mean, they're on their way. They're getting, I guess you can say, they're getting back on track. But besides that, as I said, there's not much news. But yeah, I'm excited for this weekend. I love this track. I think that it's one of the better tracks on the calendar. I've always enjoyed watching the Grand Prix here. And I've always enjoyed playing the games that race here because it's always been fun. It's a great track. Not as much of a fan of the Nürburgring, so I'm actually more glad they're here than there, even though they cancelled last year and they probably won't ever go back into Formula 1 or not for a few more years. But yeah, either way, that was that. So the reason why I'm driving as Ricciardo, one, because he's one of the few drivers that are still in that was in Formula 1 at the time in a decent team. But no, for real, the reason why I chose Daniel Ricciardo is I feel like he can get a podium this weekend. And you might be like, well, a podium for Red Bull is not that good. It's like, well, at Hungary there is a power circuit. Yes, okay, chassis cars do tend to have some sort of some kind of an edge around here, but not as much as power cars. So I can totally see Ricciardo fight for a podium and beat Ferrari. I don't think Ferrari are doing that well so far. I think Ferrari are just their typical themselves, where they're just like, hey, we're Ferrari, we should be winning races. It's like, okay, yeah, you should be winning races. What are you going to do about it? And then they don't do anything. Like, that's what's gone wrong this season. They were never a threat. They never beat Red Bull this season. It's not, Red Bull isn't officially faster than Ferrari. Red Bull's always been faster than Ferrari. And if you had Verstappen driving at the beginning of the year, they'd be whooping their ass in points. It was just Kvyat let them down the point region. Ferrari got a good car, don't get me wrong, but it's the third best car on the field. It's not second best, which is what they were hoping, and possibly first. Every time Mercedes have made a mistake, or every time someone has challenged Mercedes, it's been Red Bull. I mean, it hasn't been Ferrari, it's been Red Bull. Why is Ferrari why is everyone still saying that Ferrari are good? Because at the start of the season, they said, we are going to challenge Mercedes this year. Great, but you're not. You know, I said from the beginning of the year that Red Bull are going to do better than them. They didn't think they were going to do well at the beginning of the season, but they showed that after Australia that they got a great car, and then they got the engine update. And that's also a reason why I say they could do well, because we haven't really seen this engine upgrade on a full high-speed circuit. Like one where there's a lot of straights like this, where they're running at high speed a lot of the time. And that's why I'm excited to see them at this track, because they can take out downforce and still be just as quick in the downforce regions, because their chassis is just so good. And no one talks about the chassis anymore in Formula 1. They always talk about how much downforce they can stick on. But downforce don't mean shit when you're right behind another car, because you lose all your downforce. So I look at it and go, well, the chassis for Red Bull is a lot better than, the chassis at Mercedes or anyone else, because they don't need to play a lot of downforce on. They can have their rake, the back of the car is so high off the ground because they just have so much grip in that chassis. And that's how it works. I mean, it's frustrating. I love the commentators, but they never mention these kind of things. But yeah, going into the weekend, my prediction. I think we will see Hamilton first, because he'll be on a roll now that he's finally, for the first time this season, led the championship. I think Nico Rosberg, I'm going to say get second, but I have a feeling he might have a problem, but I'm still going to stick to he going to get second. Ricciardo definitely going to get third. I think Vettel will probably get fourth, but Verstappen will be battling him, and then Verstappen fifth easily. And then Kimi probably sixth. And Kimi's good at taking the back end, like really capitalizing on Ferrari to a certain point. So I think, yeah, we'll see that order. Any surprise? I can't pick the rest, by the way. If you haven't seen this before, I really can't pick the rest of the field. But any surprise people there that could get him? Yeah, definitely Force India. I can definitely see maybe Perez or Hulkenberg sneaking in a little podium. If, say, something goes wrong with Mercedes or Red Bull or something goes wrong with them, they can definitely be there. They've got a good chassis, and it is high speed. This is a medium chassis to a high speed track, so which is good for them. If it's just a high speed track, Williams usually beats them, and then if it's a chassis track, Force India is typically a little bit better. But when it's the high speed with chassis, Force India really loves that track. Their car comes alive because they've got the engine for the straights and they have the car for the corners. So yeah, maybe we could see a sneaky little podium from one of them. But as I said, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think Renault will get points here either. I think that they're not going to get any points for the next little bit. It is also, I'm just having a look at the weather forecast now. It's been changing all week from wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry. At the moment, it's cloudy with a chance of rain, but practice and qualifying is rain. So we could see rain for the Grand Prix, which, if it does, definitely put Red Bull on for podium, if not win. We've seen their car come alive through those wet conditions and just the weather stuff, where it doesn't matter about power, it matters more about your chassis and carrying speed rather than gaining speed. So that's definitely that. We could also see maybe a Manor have a good weekend. I think that they may just, if this track is very hard on cars, so say if a McLaren and Renault and a couple other cars have problems, we could definitely see a Manor maybe squeeze in a point. I highly doubt it, but I hope so. Sauber won't get a point here, they're just not fast enough. We'll have to wait a little bit to see Sauber benefit from this change, because they need to develop these parts that they can finally get built. Like, the drivers are excited for this, because there's all these concepts and these parts and these upgrades that they couldn't afford to do, but were drawn up anyway, they could now afford to do. So it'll take a little bit to see some upgrades and see this change in ownership really apply. I say give it about 3 more races, or maybe after the mid-season break. We might start seeing some changes in the mid-season break, but for now, I would say that they're probably safely last. I mean, Manor's shit in qualifying, but they've got a great race car for what they've got. I mean, they're racing. Every other team has like over 500 people, and then they have under 200. Like, for a little team, they do exceptionally well. And it's great to see. I mean, they've had a lot of change in management. So it'll be interesting to see how I think that's going to start taking effect now, because we're starting to see them get upgrades. But yeah, I think it's great. We'll have to wait and see how they go. As I said, if look, this is where by the way, if you don't know, I talk about going on into the season and what could be affected by what happens. So I think if Rosberg can get the championship back, it'll be hard to stop Rosberg for the next few races, just because they'll have that motivation again and that excitement that, okay, cool, I'm leading the championship again, I can beat Hamilton here. If Hamilton wins, it's kind of going to keep him in a form that's unstoppable for the next few races. But we do go into mid-season break, so I feel like whoever wins this race could really set a tone for the rest of the season. Because as I said, mid-season breaks up. Then we have 4 weeks, so not much, 3 or 4 weeks off, and then it's non-stop. So they don't have a lot of time to think. So this is their time to sit back, relax. So whoever's leading the championship will have a phenomenal advantage on their teammate out of the two Mercedes. As I said, going into the mid-season break, this is the last one, so we won't see any upgrades here, as I said, but we will see people definitely pushing it, because this is one of the last races. Well, this is one of the few races where we have a bigger than 2 week gap. So the cars actually will go, after this race, go back to the factory, so we can see a little more aggression. And if people collide and break something, it's like, shit, we don't need that part for next weekend. We can just take it back to the factory, work on it at the factory. So I can definitely see it being a little bit more of an aggressive weekend. But yeah, as I said, there's not a lot about this weekend going on. I do apologize. Normally I would. I mean, the last couple of ones I haven't been able to really go through the whole video talking, and I apologize. But there's just not a lot going on, to be honest. There's just really not. So hopefully after this we'll see a lot of changes, because we start getting into contracts and all of that. So hopefully we'll see then. About this race, I just let you guys know I do win it. I do pit again, race through the cars, but I mean it was pretty easy. The 2014 game, you can get in almost any car and win. It's not that difficult. They haven't kept up the updates with this as they have with 2015. And I think next time you guys will see this prediction and review, well, review not, but next time you see a prediction video, it will be in the new game. So yeah, we'll definitely see some changes there. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button, really helps me out, and subscribe to see more. Also, should mention that the music that will be playing for the rest of this is by No Copyright Free, I think it is, or No Copyright Sounds Free. Either way, check it out. The link's in the description with the artist and their link to their social media. It's free copyright music, so you don't actually get picked up on copyright strikes. And I genuinely love their music. I've been listening it all the time now. Compared to other music, I've been preferring theirs. But yeah, leave a like if you did. Subscribe to see more. I will have my review out on probably Tuesday. Just because I am out this weekend, so I will probably be tired and won't want to record after the Grand Prix. But yeah, subscribe to see that. And let me know what you guys think about going into this weekend. Leave a comment below on your thoughts, and if there's anything I missed, which I do apologize if I did miss anything. So I'll see you guys next time.
That's a fantastic result for the Red Bull team. They'll celebrate that win long into the night.